you immediately, and you have done well to come. Now, therefore, we are all present before God to hear all the things commanded you by God. Then Peter opened his mouth and said, in truth I perceive that God shows no partiality, but in every nation, whoever fears him, this is the key verse, but in every nation, whoever fears him and works righteousness is accepted by him. The word which God sent to the children of Israel, preaching peace through Jesus Christ, he is Lord of all. That word you know, which was proclaimed throughout all Judea and began from Galilee after the baptism which John preached. How God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil, for God was with him. And we are witnesses of all things which he did, both in the land of the Jews and in Jerusalem, whom they killed by hanging on a tree. Him God raised up on the third day and showed him openly, not to all the people, but to witnesses chosen before by God, even to us who ate and drank with him after he arose from the dead. And he commanded us to preach to the people and to testify that it is he who was ordained by God to be judge of the living and the dead. To him all the prophets witness that through his name whoever believes in him will receive remission of sins. While Peter was still speaking these words, the Holy Spirit fell upon all those who heard the word. And those of the circumcision who believed were astonished, as many as came with Peter, because the gift of the Holy Spirit had been poured out on the Gentiles also. For they heard them speaking with tongues and magnified God. Then Peter answered, can anyone forbid that they should not be baptized who have received the Holy Spirit just as we have? And he commanded them to be baptized in the name of the Lord. Then they asked him to stay a few days. The same thing, the same Holy Spirit that came upon the disciples, the chosen people, the same Holy Spirit in the same manner came upon the Gentiles. God saying there is no difference. I created and I sit in heaven and I go, and me as God decided to think, well, I like colors. And it would be nice to look at some of them as black. And it would be nice to look at some of them as white, and some of them as whether there's blue people or brown people. Whatever color, God was excited about looking at different colors. But we take that and we begin to use that against each other. Yet the same Holy Spirit comes in all of us in the same way. If you are open to the Spirit of God, you see, sometimes when I hear all this, and I go to places because I'm a pastor, and I hear people address me and they say, woman of God, and I say, excuse me, she's a woman of God too. As long as you are born of the Spirit and the Holy Spirit is in you, you are a woman of God. Because we begin to pat ourselves as pastors. Your pride sets in us because we like to be recognized differently. He's the man of God. And there comes the woman of God. Who told you the Spirit is different in them? Anybody born of the Spirit and is filled with the Holy Spirit is a man and a woman of God. Yeah. So when you walk into a place and they say, there are women of God, say they're talking about me. Because I'm also a woman of God. Because I carry the same Spirit that they carry. There's no difference. You understand? There's no difference. God does not see the difference that we try to put upon each other. God is sitting in heaven and laughing and say, do they know that the one with the flat nose, I also have a flat nose? God gets up and think, I imagine that gets up sometimes in the morning and he's looking black. One morning in heaven, they look at him and they say, oh, today he's black. And he has a flat nose. And he has kinky hair, you can't even brush it. And next morning he's looking very white and his hair is flowing. And he has a straight nose and thin lips. He gets up every morning, he's looking different. He gets up one morning, he's looking like a Chinese man. He's short and he has funny eyes. And nobody's laughing at him because his God Almighty is trying to say to them, I look like all of them. I created them all in my image. So whether the ears are big, they are mine. I also have big ears. That's how God sits in heaven. But we worry about things that don't matter. And I want to talk to us again from John chapter 4. Jesus himself at this time is not his disciple. This time is not Cornelius, it's not Peter, but it's Jesus Christ himself. Him and his disciples have had a long day working, preaching and doing wonders and signs following him. He gets to a place in Samaria. And he gets there and he's going to sit by the well while they run into in the nearest mall to get something to eat. And he meets with a woman. John chapter 4. Therefore, when the Lord knew that did I open John chapter 4? Yes. Okay, I know the verse that I'm looking for. I'm going to start from verse 1. Therefore, when the Lord knew that the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself did not baptize but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again to Galilee. But he needed to go through Samaria, so he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus, therefore, being wearied of his journey, sat thus by the well. It was about the 6th hour. A woman of the Samaria came to draw water. Jesus said to her, "Give me a drink." For his disciples had gone away into the city to buy food. Then the woman of Samaria said to him, "How is it that you, being a Jew, ask a drink from me, a Samaritan woman? For Jews have no dealings with Samaritans." There goes my sister. She decides she's going to tell the Lord, "How are you going to ask me for something to drink? You're a Jew. We don't even mingle. We can't even share the same cup. Otherwise, after using that cup, I have to throw it away. So how can you ask me to give you something to drink? We and you, we don't even mingle." She had no idea who she was talking to. But this is how she's raised. Sitting in her mother's house every day, she hears it over and over. We don't mingle with the Jews, so you make sure don't mingle with the Jews. Don't drink from the same cup with them. Don't give them anything, even if they are hungry or they are thirsty, just ignore them. Don't we do that? You don't mingle with the black people. They are dirty. You don't drink from the same cup as them. They sit in certain places in the buses. They can't be in the same mall with you. Their kids cannot sit with you in the same schools. Cherry Creek District, the south of Colorado, Aurora South, is for the rich white people. The black people can't come into the schools. I came into Cherry Creek District and lived in Piney Creek when Piney Creek was an all-white neighborhood. Our first house in Piney Creek, not the one we have now. We have another house in Piney Creek. Our first home in Piney Creek, me and Bill. We get into Piney Creek. Our neighbor across was there were a couple, white couple, old couple. I mean, these guys were like in their 70s, but they could not stand the black people. So we started getting letters every morning in our mailbox that we need to move because we're in the wrong neighborhood. This is 1996 when we bought our home in Piney Creek. You need to move because you are black, you can't be in this neighborhood, this is a white neighborhood. This is 1996 in America. This guy had 2 pit bulls. He'd take them walking right behind our house. I think he always thought he could just let them go. And if he could find us outside, he'd let the dogs kill us. He was so angry with us. We were black. We didn't fit in the neighborhood. Then 2 houses down were another black couple that had come out of Detroit. They were husband and wife and 2 boys. And so this is only 2 families in this neighborhood. My sister, who lived in Green Valley Range, for the reason that she wouldn't buy a house, Julie wouldn't buy a house in the south of Aurora because she didn't want to deal with what we were dealing with, chose to buy a house in Green Valley Range. So when she first came to the house, she calls me, she says, "Give me the address, I'm coming." She's driving, she gets there, she gets lost. She stops, she sees a white man working in his garden. This is a different house altogether in our neighborhood. She says, "Well, I'm looking for Truckee Street." Says, "Yes, Truckee Street is here." The man says, "Do you work here?" She says, "No, my sister and her husband actually have a house." He says, "Black people can't afford this neighborhood. You're in the wrong place." My sister said, "But 577 South Truckee Street, that's my sister's house." Says, "Yes, it's around the corner. Black people can't afford here. You are lost." She said, "Well, just tell me where the street is and I'll go." And she came, she said, "This guy argued with me, said you can't afford a house here." I, for one day I'm driving. I leave the house and I get to the end of the street. I remember that I forgot something. So I turn round to go back to the house. A police car stops me. And I'm thinking, I'm in the neighborhood. I didn't drive anything more than 20 k's. Why would he stop me? Flashes his light and he gets out and says, "Good morning, ma'am." I say, "Good morning, sir." He says, "Are you okay?" I said, "No, I'm fine." He says, "Are you lost?" I said, "No, I'm not lost." He says, "You know, I can help you find your way. Do you work in this neighborhood?" I said, "I own a house in this neighborhood." He says, "Excuse me, ma'am, black people don't live in this neighborhood." 1996. I said, "Well, you know, I'm not going to argue with you. If it's okay with you,